From the time he gets here in the mornings to the time he leaves at night, like he's just gradually building his routine to kind of help him have, the productive things you're seeing on the field.
What does he give you when he's playing at this kind of level?
Oh man, number one, just his leadership, I think, is second to none. As a coach, when you have Rosie or any of those guys that are playing at a high level, doing things right, it gives you a comfort. You know what I mean? And you don't have a guy out there and you're not concerned about, well, what if something bad happens, or what if he misses a key or misses a read. Like when guys are settled in and they know what they're doing from a coach, you just have a comfort level to just kind of let them go out there and rip it.
I also wanted to ask about James Cruz and the way he bounced back, kind of a tough game early in the season, and didn't see him for how's he responded to maybe a challenge or coming back?
Kind of the same thing with Cruz, just his routine. All those guys have an unbelievable routine, but the thing I love the most is they all try to find ways to help their routine improve or help their routine allow them to get a edge in a certain area that maybe they lacked from the week before. So that's the biggest thing with him. Like when those guys notice something that might be a negative, they find a way to fix it. And that's one thing Cruz did that I'm extremely proud of.
We heard from Aaron that he's maybe giving the inside backers some grief for not having any interceptions. Are you playing Dylan's on a loop now?
Yeah, it's when I don't know how long it's been, but somebody told me it's like been some years since an inside backer has caught a pick in a game. So I don't know the facts behind that, but I said, well, it's a good thing we changed that. So
I guess what goes into Dylan maybe making that play?
Just his preparation. Again, his preparation, his routine each and every week. There's not many things that he does on Saturday that he hadn't already done or visualized throughout the course of the week in practice. So that specific route, that specific coverage, he has a specific progression he's supposed to go through. He has a specific set of rules, and then you follow those things, and the end result is he gets a huge play in a critical moment in the game. So that's you attribute all that to that, just his preparation.
Something maybe Brett said Monday was that after Indiana, he was more about let's dial it up, the intensity, the physicality. What you may see for just the team in general in that week of prep for USC after that.
You had a group of guys, players, coaches, everybody in this building kind of took one on the chin, after the Indiana game. But to come back, there was a bunch of hard conversations, a bunch of hard critiques, players and coaches, everybody after that, and then you just figure out how to move forward. And I think that's what everybody did. They saw the areas that we needed to improve. Everybody kind of accepts the coaching and critiques, players and coaches, because it's deserved after an end result like that. And then you come back for next week against a big opponent like USC at home, and the final result is we walk off the field with a victory. So, those guys, they were just eager to get back to it. They didn't stay down long, and I appreciate that so much about them.
So Devin Mockabee doesn't seem like a guy who gets a lot of explosive plays, but he does get yards after contact. What's the challenge tackling him this week?
Yeah, well, such a good player, man. And the one thing about this league, you're going to see good backs week in and week out, and he's the next one up on the list. He's strong, he's fast, he's physical. He's a downhill, one-cut kind of guy. So we're going to have to do a great job of just tackling, trusting our fundamentals, trusting our technique, and then playing with physical. We got to be physical. That's one thing we preach every day, is just being the most physical unit on the field. And so if we can take that approach, we'll take that approach, and I think we'll have a chance to be successful.
Seems like Malachi has had some successes, like a spy in some roles against mobile quarterback. What makes him and obviously he's fast, right? We talk about that, but what else makes him good at doing that job if he's called upon this Saturday for that?
Yeah, just he has a specific skill set that I think is very unique. He was a high school safety, so his understanding of leverage and space, him knowing that I'm a fast guy, so as long as I play with the appropriate angles, not many people are going to outrun him. So I think just his safety background from a knowledge standpoint, his DB safety background from a skill set standpoint allows him to be successful in those situations. That's why we put him in those situations sometimes, just because he has the ability to do it.
Was last week just maybe a matchup-wise for him? And we hadn't seen him as much as we had in the previous 4 games.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different factors that go into that. There were some things throughout the course of the game that we wanted to try to look at in a different way, and so some of those, didn't call for Kai. But again, the beauty about our room is we have a bunch of guys that can do a bunch of things, and so as long as we can kind of keep that variety, we'll have a chance to play every game and be successful.
Aaron said on Monday he called more zone than he has in probably in any game since he's been the coordinator. How's that impact your guys?
I mean, kind of the same way. You know, it's number one, just getting the call, knowing the technique, knowing what my progression is, and then having some execution. Zone coverage is all about understanding spacing. It's all about having the appropriate depth. It's all about having good eyes on the quarterback and having vision and being able to break, you know, which is dramatically different from playing man, you know. And so we rep those things a lot. And again, like I say, you see end result, Rosie gets a pick, you know, in a big time moment. And again, it's understanding within that call, within this situation, what am I supposed to do? How does this require me to do my job? And they just have a good understanding of that.
You guys, as a program, the last 3 years, 11-4 in one-score games. What makes the approach, the DNA of this team, whatever it is, successful in those moments? What do you guys do to have those guys prepared to have success there?
You know, I think when you just look at being tough, smart, and dependable, right? I think when you look at the fourth quarter in a close game, if you're dependable, you're going to have a chance to have an edge, you know. And I think our team is built for those moments, and it starts with Coach B. You know, and it kind of just trickles its way all the way from the top to the bottom and everybody in between. So, you know, that's one thing. TSD is something we take a lot of pride in. And you can't be that if you can't finish a game in the fourth quarter.
I want to ask, how's that situational football? Brett mentioned that's really important. And
Say that again.
Brett teaches situational football quite a bit. How does that